Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. John Calabrese is with us by Zoom, so he's asked me to lead the meeting today. Present, Bob Bauer.
Supervisor Vandermeulen,
Yes.
are you willing to lead us through the proceedings? Do I see you there?
Yeah.
Yep, press that button, there you go.
Okay. Can everybody hear me now?
That would be great.
Okay, and so Luke Wilsey is excused. Bob Bauer, John Calabrese, and Tom Gilbert are here, so we can proceed. Let's see, approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve?
Also move.
Okay, second, okay. Any discussion of the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving them, say aye.
All right,
Opposed, the same? Okay, public comments, none registered as far as I can see. Staff reports, emergency management, Melissa. Oh, that's from the minutes. Yeah, let's see, I think Marcy,
She's at a conference, so she's not present this evening.
okay, any comments on her report? Sounds like her new employees are going well. Seem to have a lot of blank spaces in the blank pages. Okay, Sheriff, Marshall?
Just in addition to the report, we had a full-time deputy sheriff submit his resignation. So as of this point, we have 3 in training, 3 open positions, so a third of our patrol is not available, which in conjunction, our overtime is being eaten up very quickly. We have extended a job offer to someone to fill Marie Marty's position, as Marie took Patty Kenny's position when she left. Other than that, our budget seems to be okay, other than the overtime and the other costs related to filling the patrol positions. We also just found out that one of our 2019 Ford patrol trucks needs a new engine. Apparently, all the 2019 Fords have a similar issue with lubrication. Hopefully this is the last one, and hopefully we can roll them out of the fleet before we have to replace all the engines. But there was $9,200 for a new engine, so no small cost there. If anybody has any other questions regarding the report from the sheriff, just let me know.
Do you put a new engine in those then?
On this one, that was apparently the only remedy. They start sounding like a diesel when they start up. Sometimes it goes away after a little bit, sometimes it doesn't. Apparently there is, yeah, it's just one of those things. And this one had 83,000 miles on it, so it's not a high mileage vehicle by any means.
Yeah, don't buy that.
We're just discussing Melissa has, hers is a 19, so.
I know some of this could be, may I go ahead there, question?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. I just had a question on, you said your budget's all right, but it looks like you're getting burned up pretty good on overtime, and your squad's gonna be putting you over the limit, I suppose, that new truck.
Well,
I know
that's,
down the line, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but down the line, we're gonna vote on that anyway, but is it just the truck, or can you take all this stuff that's on the inside and transfer it over to the new truck, or did that get damaged as well, and you need to replace
no,
all that?
it's already been stripped already. We have all the equipment that will go into the vehicle or truck that replaces it. And in fact, insurance paid for the tear down of the equipment out of it and the replacement into the new squad. Everything that was in it is completely usable unless for some reason the cage wouldn't transfer. It seems like Ford likes to change the interior dimensions every couple of years, so we have to buy new stuff. I don't know why, but yeah, it's already been stripped. We're waiting, and
I didn't know if that all got damaged and smashed at the same time.
no, it just kind of, the car went down the entire passenger side of it and but the aluminum tore the whole side of the vehicle off. So
Good, save some money there, I guess.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to Katie then, the courts.
The only other update that I have is I was just notified this morning by the Department of Court Operations that we did receive reimbursement for interpreter emergency funds that were used for a Hmong interpreter for a 2-day jury trial. So they're going to fully reimburse us $2,906.47. So that's not going to be on the county's burden to pay that invoice. That was my exciting news for today. Yeah, otherwise I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Any questions for Katie? CJCC.
Sarah here. No further updates unless there's questions.
Any questions for Sarah?
I have a question, Carl, if I could.
Go ahead, John.
Sarah, says on your report that you co-chaired the state CJCC treatment alternatives and diversion subcommittee. How did that go?
Well, it went well. So my other co-chair is Kelly Thompson. She's the state public defender. She's like the chief of that office. So typically she leads it. I'm just there. But she was traveling, so I got to lead it, and it went well. It went well. So thanks for asking.
Oh, good. Thank you for being there.
Sarah, I was curious what kind of stimulants are involved with stimulant use disorder.
So that can include cocaine, but we typically see methamphetamines in our neck of the woods.
Good.
Yeah, those two.
I thought it was probably something new. Those we hear about quite a bit.
Yeah, it's just nice that it's getting incorporated into not just opioids. This has been something our community's seen for a long time, so it's nice that the federal government and state is recognizing that too.
Okay. Any other questions for Sarah? Okay, Andrea.
I don't have anything to add unless there's any questions.
May I, what do you do for the elderly abuse training? I mean, do you look for certain things? I mean, you want to training, I mean, what do you?
Yeah, it was an interesting training. I wasn't able to attend any in the last couple of years with COVID and then being busy with the homicide. So it was a nice opportunity. So this was with Adult Protective Services. There were 2 workers who went. Travis Mayer is now, I think, the captain with the sheriff's office, and then 2 investigators from the Menominee Police Department. And so we learned a lot about sort of the complexities involved with elder abuse. Frequently, well, to be honest, we don't get a whole lot of them, but what I have seen is generally financial exploitation. But I have also had domestic abuse and domestic violence, and those are when we're dealing with individuals who are considered elderly under the statute, they're hard to prosecute because my experience, and that's to say that it's the truth in our society is changing, but generally, they don't want the police involved. They don't want to leave their spouse because, they've built their home there. They've raised their children in that home. They might want the violence to stop, but they don't want to end that relationship so we learned a lot about that. And then we learned about, the difficulties when you have those financial cases and there's, Alzheimer's or dementia involved. And unfortunately, it's frequently family members who, say, grandma gave me so-and-so, and then the family saying, no, she didn't. And trying to deal with, whether she remembers or, actually did give that consent. So, it was an interesting training. it's part of training the trainers. And so we'll now then learn how to train law enforcement. And so it was quite fitting. We had that case, I want to say it's in Downsville, but the burglary where this woman allegedly assaulted an elderly couple in their home. And so it's interesting to know that under the statute, 60 is elder. So our society, people are living older and older. And so you usually wouldn't consider yourself at 60 being an elder, but that's what it is under the statute. And so it's an enhancer. And so it was a fitting training to attend, given that too.
So it wasn't just nothing in nursing homes, that was more or less just personal household.
No, it was in nursing homes too. There's a whole bunch of different cases that they talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, those are my questions too, Bob. So thanks for asking. Any other questions? Okay. So emergency communications and emergency management, Melissa. Oh, did I miss one? Maybe I was. Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead, Josie.
Thank you. We learned just last week that Joint Finance has voted 11-4 to increase child support program funding. Not as much as what we were asking, but we'll take it. So $1 million GPR increase for the state in the 23-24 budget, $5 million increase in the 24-25 state budget. And then they also passed funding for the child support systems modernization the system that we use, I think, was built the year I graduated high school. So it's time for a new modernized system. So.
Any questions for Josie? Yeah, I got the impression that the state is getting a little more responsive to local government needs, so maybe they're hearing our cries. Other questions? Then Melissa?
I guess I do have a couple things. I just wanted to let you know that the calls that I spoke about on Wednesday evening have definitely slowed down. I think we took 2 today, so I think it's hopefully over for now. So the other thing that I did want to just bring to your attention is we've talked about it several times, but next generation 911 is definitely on the cusp, and there is grant availability from the state of Wisconsin to move forward with that, to implement that within our communication center. The grant opportunity just came out a week ago. And it has a really short turnaround of August 1st is the deadline to have that grant submitted. So one of the requirements of the grant is to pass a resolution stating that the Dunn County Communication Center is the only PSAP or public safety answering point within Dunn County. And it has to have some special verbiage that speaks to this grant. So with that short turnaround, the procedure that we're supposed to follow is we're supposed to bring a resolution to this committee here, and then we would pass it on to the county board for, the final approval from the full board. And being that we have that tight turnaround, I don't think that would be able to fully do it. Although Chris did mention that the July meeting for the full county board, I think, is a week later. And that we may be able to do it. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I guess just ask, if there was a preference or if it would be acceptable if I just took a resolution straight to the county board for basically naming our communication center as the only public safety answering point in Dunn County. And that is the case. and we have been that way since 1995.
Do you need a resolution saying that, or do you need a resolution supporting your grant application?
No, we just need a resolution stating that. It's kind of a technicality. Back when we did the wireless enhancement grant back in 2006, I believe it was. They required the same thing, that we did a resolution stating that fact. And we thought we could use the same resolution, but they kind of switch it up when they name that specific grant that you're applying for. So
we just need the title,
basically, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So they give us a draft resolution and everything. And like I said, procedure generally, we bring a resolution here. You guys approve it and move it on. Is that correct, Chris? Yep.
It seems odd to me because, I have no direct knowledge myself. And I don't think any of us others on the committee have that in order to resolve this. So it would seem to me that a county attorney or county manager or somebody would be able to affirm this.
Yeah, I think the suggestion was, just kind of making you aware that it was a tight turnaround for the
Okay.
deadline for the
Yeah.
grant.
Yeah.
And, just I guess asking if it would be okay if I just went directly to the county board. Is that kind of the, yeah,
Okay.
Was there any
Yeah.
opposition? to this?
yeah. Do you, you know,
I don't.
Okay. Any,
Job.
I mean, you'll definitely see it, and vote on it at the full county board meeting.
John, that sound okay to you?
Yeah, well, it does, but we do meet, this committee meets again 2 days before the full board. And I know that's a matter of the agenda out a week before so that the full board can see what they're voting on. Maybe I don't anybody having a problem with it, but if you have it prepared maybe for the executive committee, which meets on July 12th, maybe that's something that could go through them, and then it could be on the agenda for the full board. That's just an idea. I don't know if that's something that could be done.
Sure.
Okay.
And the other thing would be if the board, if this committee decided 2 days before, you could certainly review it 2 days before, that you didn't want it to go to the county board for some reason, we just pull it. I mean,
Mhm.
even though it's agenda, it
Mhm.
doesn't get active.
Mhm. Yeah, so I guess
don't
whatever
hear-
your
I
preference.
don't hear any objections here, and that sounds like
Okay.
a good resolution.
Okay,
I just didn't want to be
yeah,
resolving something that I had no basis for resolve,
yeah,
making
it's just kind of, like Tom said, a formality to apply for the grant. And like I said, really, we are the only PSAP within the county. Thank
Melissa,
you.
I was curious about the sandbagging exercise, probably different than the sandbagging exercises I did in CrossFit a few years ago.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we went through an exercise with our region, other region emergency management team, and just to kind of show what it takes to actually complete sandbagging and the best way to do it to be effective if it ever would be needed in our community. And it was definitely an eye-opening experience, I think, for everybody involved, how much effort it does take. And it's not just as simple as just throwing the sandbags out. There's some strategy that needs to be applied so that it is effective, and trying to keep any water at bay from facilities.
Anybody else? Questions?
Yeah, Carl, I have something if you don't mind.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you. The incident that Melissa that brought up at the full board last Wednesday and gave an update on tonight. I don't want to give the person who's sort of instigating all these calls and posted the video any extra attention, but I think at least for the members of this committee, I went and found it on YouTube, and a couple things you can see how, in my opinion, the situation was handled very well. And I'd be interested in hearing what the rest of the committee members think. And also the comments on that video do an example of what Melissa and her staff were likely hearing on the phone. And it will just those comments alone give you more appreciation of what they had to deal with and dealt with in a professional way. So I just wanted to say thank you, and to anybody who wants to see that, it might be a good idea. And that's all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay, I think we're down to the contingency request, Marshall.
Does anybody have any questions about the summary of the request for the contingency funds the sheriff submitted?
I want to comment there myself, but it was, you're trying to get I should have asked this question in the earlier one, but you're trying to get reimbursement through the courts. So you think there's any chance of getting any of that back?
Realistically?
Yeah,
No.
I didn't think so. No.
I think you gotta try. I mean, he's responsible for it. It was a criminal action. I mean, he intended to do that. I think we have to do that, but I won't hold it won't happen anytime while I'm still working. So.
Should probably have a motion to approve the sheriff department's contingency request for a replacement squad.
Make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Any further discussion of the request? Then all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? Okay, we have approved that. I don't see anything else on the agenda. John, when is the next meeting?
The next meeting is Monday, July 24th at 4:30 in that room.
Okay. Anybody else?
There was an item underneath number 6.
Oh, okay.
The recording Judiciary and Law Committee meetings discussion. I don't know if Chair Calabrese wants to talk about that, but that was on the agenda for this evening again.
Okay.
Thank you, Katie. Yes, and at the executive committee meeting earlier this month, the county manager and Chair McCullough mentioned that they were talking about it and thinking about some potential solutions. And I'm sure it's not the most pressing matter, but when we hear more, we'll bring it back to this committee. But it's same place it was last month.
So John, you were waiting on corporate counsel. Did he get back to it all?
No, I have not heard back from Nick. But I'll send him another message and see if there's anything we can do.
I would guess to meet public records needs, we could have some expiration time on something like that, couldn't we? I think there was concern with keeping the minutes posted on YouTube.
Yeah, I feel like we could as well. I don't think it's mandated that we post all the meetings anyway, because we have the minutes of the meeting and they're open to the public. I think the county chooses to post them. And so I think the question is, can this committee have a different rules or different things that they do with the meeting recordings than other committees?
Okay. Anybody else on that? Or other items or announcements? Hearing none, we're adjourned.
Thank you, Carl. Thanks, everybody.